Hi, welcome to you all. I am Rajesh. We're going to learn a few more concepts about poverty. The important concept which we're going to learn in this video are the measures of poverty, how to measure the poverty in different methods, and data collections. What are the methods that are used to collect the data to measure the poverty, and of course the Lorenz curve and Gini coefficient. What is their importance in the measuring of relative poverty? There are two types of poverty, that is absolute poverty and relative poverty. In absolute poverty, different methods are there, and of course relative poverty, how to measure in that Lorenz curve and Gini coefficient. Let's learn the measures of poverty. So in measures of poverty, different methods are used to measure the poverty, that is a per capita income or basic need approach, and per capita food consumption, and a calories concept. Now here first we'll see that one, that is per capita income. So the per capita income can be used to measure of their household welfare, how much they attain the welfare. In that they try to measure it. So here a threshold level of income, also called as a poverty line, is defined. Here the difference between the poor and the non-poor. So here example, if we say that poverty line in terms of per capita income, say about 10,000 rupees, then any household earning below rupees 10,000 is considered as a poor. 10,000 is a huge amount. Let's we get 100 rupees. So if we say poverty line in terms of per capita income, so say about some 100 rupees, then any household who is earning less than 100 is considered as a poor people according to per capita income approach. Then we see another one, that is a basic need approach. In this approach, here the basic needs of an individual we are going to discuss. What are that? What are the basic needs? Food, housing, shelter, that is a housing shelter, health services, clothing, education, etc. So these are the different things we are using for measuring the welfare of an individual. If these basic needs if not fulfilled, then that particular individual or that particular household considered as a poor. So this is the basic needs. So all these basic needs should be attained. If not attained, then that is a poor. Then per capita food consumption. So this is very interesting one. In this very approach, the household propensity to consume of food, it is considered as a welfare. How much food they considered, and that is very important for consideration for measurement of the poverty. Then at last we'll see calorie concept. So in this calorie concept, we'll say that one, it's based on the calories intake of an individual. So how much calories, so food is contains certain calories, minerals, how much calories an individual is intaking. So every individual has some basic nutritional requirement. So that is it is understood. So everyone should take certain calories. So to satisfy his requirement, he has to take that basic requirements. So in a basket, so if that particular basket is not fulfilled the basic requirements, the intake of calories, then we consider him as a poor. So a household which are unable to incur the cost of basket of goods are categorized as a poor. So in a basket, number of goods are there. In that goods, there is a calories contents are there. Some basic nutritional requirement are there. If that particular basket is not contained so much of calories, then that particular individual who is buying that particular basket full of goods is called as a poor people. So these are some basics, okay, measurement of poverty: per capita income, basic need concept, per capita food consumption, and calorie, how much they are intaking. Then we'll see, which already yesterday we discussed, that is poverty. You know that there's two types of poverty: absolute poverty is a poverty, and relative poverty. Comparatively, there is a poverty, and absolute poverty is something which is they are depriving the basic requirements which is able to sustain their life. So basic education, employment, things like that. There are many aspects we discussed in the previous video. And relative poverty, so comparatively, what is poverty? So in absolute poverty, we have different methods to measure: poverty ratio, head counter ratio, poverty ratio, that is a head counter, income gap ratio, ICR, so poverty gap index, and a squared poverty gap, and at last we'll say that one other one, that is a poverty line. So these are the certain concept we're going to learn in absolute poverty, which deprives certain basic requirements. And other one, that is a relative poverty, where so relatively how going to measure through Lorenz curve. So how the income is distributed, that one we going to learn in this Lorenz curve. And the Gini coefficient, this is the we'll discuss in detail. First one, so what is the measure in measures of poverty? Poverty ratio or head count ratio, poverty ratio. So this is head count ratio. It is defined as proportion of poor to the total population. How many proportion? What is the proportion to this the whole population? So it measures the incidence of poverty and also helping us to understand whether the poverty is reduced or not. How many people are there in a whole of the total 120 crore of people? What is the proportion population of poor people existed? In this poverty ratio or head count ratio, number of people below poverty line divided by number of people below poverty line divided by total population into 100. So this is will give what is a head count rate, what is the total ratio that are existing. Other one, income gap ratio. It is very simple. By dividing the total expenditure of the poor by the number of below poverty line. See, it's very simple. Dividing the total expenditure of the poor. So how much expenditure they spend? We already discussed there is a per capita, per consumption, basic requirement, some of the measures. Now here, the total expenditure of the poor by number of people below the poverty line. So it is measure the poor people below the poverty line. How many people are there like that? Then other one will say that is poverty gap index. So it's very simple. The difference between poverty line and average income of all households living below poverty line. So what is the poverty line? So poverty line is defined as the expenditure incurred to obtain a goods in a poverty line basket. So it is a, what about poverty gap? It is the average income of all the households living below the poverty line. It is expressed as a percentage of poverty line. It's very simple explained, the depth and the severity of the poverty, how much depth it is there, and that one we try to understand. So simply the poverty line minus average income of below poverty line. We already said that one, average income of all the household living the below poverty line divided by poverty line into 100. So this is a simple formula. Poverty gap index is nothing but, so poverty gap index, poverty line minus average income of BPL divided by poverty line into 100. So then another one, squared poverty line minus average income of BPL divided by poverty line into 100. Then other one, squared poverty gap. It is the means of squared proportionate poverty gap. It simply indicates the severity as well as sensitivity in inequality among the poor. So these are all the certain methods in which they are measuring the poverty, that is absolute poverty. Now we're not gone for the relative poverty. So what are the methods? First we'll see method, then we'll go for relative measures, measurement of poverty. So data collection methods, what are the data they collected? Say here, uniform resource period. Here until 1993-94. So poverty is purely based on uniform resource period, which is asking people about their consumption expenditure in 30 days that they are recalling. So it's mainly based on the consumption expenditure in the previous 30 years, how much they spent it in the past 30 years, and that's recalling how much they spent it, and that is a method called as the up to 1993-94. This method is being used in India. From 1990 to 2000 onwards, so NSSO switched to MRP, means mixed reference period. So here it is a consumption of 5 low frequency items. So that is different items they are used, that is clothing, footwear, durable, education, so health expenditure about for the previous year. So here we must understand, so here is a recalling of 30 previous days, 30 days of the previous 30 days. So here previous year, and all other items over the previous 30 days. Okay, so for the 5 items, survey respondents are asked about the consumption in the previous year. So what is this consumption in the previous year? So then remaining items, what are the other things they left? They are asking about previous 30 days. So both they are using. So previous 1 year, these are the 5 items, and previous 30 days, other items also included, to collect the data. Based on that, they are estimating the collecting the data, so that later they are estimating the power. Then another method is modified mixed reference period. So in this modified mixed reference period, so here certain data is given, we don't want these things anyway. So World Bank, so they estimated 12.4% rate in 2011 and 2. Here the bank are used, actually the World Bank used this method for measuring the poverty, that is modified mixed reference period. But in India, there's a Rangarajan committee, they are started to using this, they are suggested this measure to collect the data. So in this there are different mixture of all things are there, that is here we'll say that one 365 days for clothing, footwear, that is a 1 year period recalling, and 7 days they just recalling for different egg, fish, meat, vegetable what they ate, and again 30 days for remaining food items. So these are, so 1 year, 1 week and 30. So in the previous what we discussed here, so uniform resource, in this only 30, and here mixed this 30 plus 1 year, and the year 30 days and 365 days, and of course 7 days. That's why it's a mixed reference period they're using for estimating the poverty. So here we'll say that one interesting fact is that it was used in 2009 and 10 alongside of MRP. What is the MRP? So what is that? Mixed reference period. Now we'll say another important concept, that is the Lorenz curve and Gini coefficient. This is an important one here. So one of the 5 major common macroeconomic goals of the government is equitable distribution of income. The main goal of the government is that distribution of income equal. So when everyone is the ultimate goal of the government is people to get welfare. So if all the people are satisfied, then the goal of the government is reached. Now here there is an inequality among the people, the income distribution, and that with the help of Lorenz curve we try to measure it. The Lorenz curve, the actual distribution of income curve, a graphical distribution of wealth developed by Max Lorenz in 1906. He explains the proportion of income earned by and given percentage of the population. So what is the proportion of income? What is the population? How the income distributed or population among that, how it is distributed. Here we're going to learn here. So the line at which 45 angles. So here one important, this is a 45-degree angle which explains that one equal distribution of income, while other shows the actual distribution of income. So this is the equal distribution of income and other thing shows the actual distribution of the income. The further away from the diagonal, so this is away from the diagonal, which explains that one. So that is the size of the more unequal size of the distribution of the income. The distribution of income in an economy represented by this curve, there is a Lorenz curve, the degree of income equality, and that equal measures through the Gini coefficient. Now here very simple, how many proportion of population and what is the proportionate income among the people are distributed, and that one explained by Max Lorenz in 1906. And now see Gini coefficient. So it is derived from the Lorenz curve. So Gini coefficient, from this curve only we are going to get the Gini coefficient also. Can we use an indicator of economic development in a country? It simply measures the degree of income inequality in the population. How much the degree of inequality existed. If it is a 0 answer, if you get Gini coefficient is 0, perfectly equal. If the answer is 1, perfectly inequality. So 0 means everyone has the same income. That is a very simple concept. So perfectly equal. In India, all the working population, so what are everyone is receiving equal income. If the coefficient is 1, represent single individual receiving all the income. So if a Gini coefficient is just 1, that means there is a perfectly inequality. Means all the income is concentrated single person. If a 0 means people all are equally distributed. That's what this Gini coefficient try to explain. So it is a double the area between the Lorenz curve and the line of perfect equal. So simply this is a thing. So here is a vertical, it is a diagonal diagram. So here the 45-degree explains, and this is curve explains the Lorenz curve. So here, what is the Gini coefficient? There is a A that explains that one. Area above the Lorenz curve. So A is nothing but this is the area Lorenz curve above the Lorenz curve, and this B represent the below the Lorenz curve. So what is the Gini coefficient explains? A divided by A plus B. Now the answer, what I already said that one, if the answer comes that is 0 means perfectly equal. Gini coefficient 0 means perfectly equal. If 1 means perfectly unequal. So perfectly unequal, all the income is concentrated single person. perfectly equal, the income is distributed among the working population equally. So these are the different methods in measuring the poverty. Thank you all for watching.